So for today's adventure, we're hiking into Blankenship Meadows and Blankenship Lakes, possibly into Pear Lake as well. We parked at the Deep Creek Horse Camp trailhead and are hiking on the Indian Creek Trail in towards Blankenship Lakes. We're expecting the hike today to be probably around 10 miles with a small lollipop loop at the end of it. Something to be aware of on this hike is that right out of the trailhead, within a few tenths of a mile, you hit the intersection with the Twin Lakes Trail. So you want to be careful for that and stay to the left. Watch for the sign; it can be a little bit hard to see. Anyways, today's adventure: Blankenship and Pear Lakes. So after 2.1 miles and about 1,060 feet of elevation gain, we finished the climb up from the trailhead into the upper Tumac / Mosquito Basin. And it should be a pretty quick traverse over to the intersection with Blankenship Lakes now. So 2.3 miles, hitting Blankenship Meadows. And really this is more than the lakes what I came up to see. We have some horses coming in the front, so we'll have to get off the trail here in a second. Good, good. How are you doing?
Great.
Great place, isn't it?
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. So that's Tumac Peak, just off in the distance there. Savannah and I hiked to the top of that late last fall, and we're looking down at the meadow here thinking we needed to come check the meadow and the lakes out. We came back up a week later, and we were already snowed out with like 1.5 feet of snow. So it's always surprising, but not surprising, how quickly the weather turns this time of year. So here we are at the 3.2 mile mark. We'd continue straight to go to Pear Lake, which is where we're ultimately going to go. But we've just arrived at the right-hand turn. We're going to take this trail and shoot over a little ways to Blankenship Lakes. So it'll just be a quick side trip. It's not very long. And then we'll backtrack out to this intersection and head over to Pear Lake. So 3.3 miles. There's Tumac Mountain in the background, or foreground, I should say, I guess. Here's the first of the 3 Blankenship Lakes. See, water level's pretty low this time of year. And here is the second of the 3 Blankenship Lakes. The smaller one, the first lake that we stopped at, is the largest of the 3. Getting a nice reflection of the trees in the water today. It's always fun to see. Anyways, Blankenship Lake number 2. I still like the meadow better. And now we're at 3.8 miles. Here's the last of the 3 Blankenship Lakes. And now we're going to head back to the trail junction and hike over to Pear Lake. So about 4.4 miles, we're back out to the trail junction. And we're going to continue our journey over to see Pear Lake. So about 5.1 miles. The Indian Creek Trail is intersecting with the Pear Lake Trail. So we're going to head left towards Pear Lake, and then we'll come back. We'll come back on this trail. This is the lollipop loop component of the hike. So we're going to head left, or kind of northwesterly towards Pear Lake. And then we're going to do a lollipop loop and wind up back at that intersection. So right about 5.8 miles, here's the intersection with the Pear Butte Trail going that way. There's Pear Butte up there. We're going to stay right on the Pear Lake Trail. 6.2 miles. Here's Apple Lake and the meadow surrounding it. And this means that we are almost to Pear Lake at this point. Look at that, that's beautiful meadow. All right, so we're about 6.8 miles into the hike, and we're at the eastern end of Pear Lake with Pear Butte in the background. Nice little spot. Had to walk down off the trail to get lake access on this side, but it looks like the other shore, the Pear Butte side, there's actually an access trail on it that you can get to from the west end of the lake. But I'm not backtracking to do that. Time to get back out on the Lollipop Loop and get this hike done. .8 miles. I'm still on the Lollipop Loop, trying to reconnect back onto the Indian Creek Trail, and just coming out in another fabulous meadow. And there's a Tumac Peak there off in the foreground. So just some fabulous country. .9 miles. Little rock cairn pile here. So I'm gonna hang a right down through there to get back towards the trailhead. And on the tree over here, you've got the trail markers for Indian Creek Trail and Pear Lake Trail. So they're a little bit hidden. Could be easy to miss, depending on how droned out a person was. And 8.3 miles. We've just closed off the Lollipop Loop. So that's a Pear Lake Trail that we headed down to head to Pear Lake. And now we're gonna stay on Indian Creek Trail and walk the stem of the Lollipop back out to the trailhead. That's essentially is a wrap on this hike. And we'll see you down at the car probably. So about 12.3 miles, we're arriving back at the trailhead. So we're gonna call Pear and Blankenship Lakes in the bag. It was definitely a climb for the first 2 miles. We were gaining about 500 feet of elevation per mile hiked. But once you get up into the basin, it was flat hiking. As far as mountains go, it's as flat as you could ever expect it to be. Fabulous little hike. Of course, Blankenship Lake could have been done as a standalone hike by itself. It was just over 4 miles into Blankenship, and there's plenty of campgrounds there. Somebody wanted to set up a campsite and then maybe explore that upper basin from camp by slack packing. Anyways, Pear and Blankenship Lakes are in the bag. Get outside.